We look back at the week, or well, in this case, weeks that were, and not a whole lot of football, but some sports happening still around. You could go back to the conference championship game, Sean. But what was the best of the last few weeks?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what it's not, and that's the Hall of Fame. That was the glaring news of the 2 weeks. I feel was the opposite of what we're talking about here today, which is just pettiness and nonsense. Kind of blocking one of the sure in all time greats from just kind of getting what he deserves. It's nonsense, you know. But yeah, that is what it is. I obviously, we're looking to the Super Bowl. We're not talking about that. I mean, it's the scenario where, Belichick's going to get into the Hall of Fame eventually. And in the long term, no one will remember this 100%. But right now, it just seems like kids in my school just not letting a kid into their group because they like someone else that they like. Like it's just nonsense.
Way out of line.
You agree? I mean, you agree? You think it's just it's nonsense? Or are you on the side of the like punish him for whatever nonsense tiny things he did?
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like he was a Hall of Famer before Spygate, before Deflategate. Well, the thing that's always bothered me, I touched on it on my my observations pod. If you want to check that out, it's on the feed here. But the thing that annoys me about the whole thing is like Spygate. Like I'm not saying that the Patriots didn't do anything wrong, but Spygate, it wasn't that they were filming, it's where they were filming from. So like what exactly, like what really was the crime? Because they were stupid? Because they didn't know the rules to the fullest extent. And then Deflategate, like, okay, everybody's mad that they have an advantage because of deflated balls. But like I remember a Fox NFL Sunday broadcast where Aikman and Buck were talking about how the Packers equipment guys told them that they would overinflate the footballs for Aaron Rodgers. So and it was never investigated, it was never looked into. Like it was just like a passing joking comment. And like if a deflated football, which is just below the threshold for what is allowable in the NFL, is bad and punishable by death and all of that, then the Packers should have been held to the same standard.
Right.
It was just like a passing joke on a Sunday.
There's like a range.
Yeah.
Whether it's outside in either direction, it's still outside.
Right. It's still an advantage to one team because you don't think that the Packers are practicing with Aaron's overinflated balls? Like,
well, and all of it is just, I mean, it was a regime that was just dominating the league and people were getting tired of it and no one could beat them.
Right.
And so when something comes to light that could potentially be something they're doing, is it something to just start some kindling and be like, let's dig into these guys? And the league's like, no, we'll just fine them. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like they're videotaping things they're allowed to tape, but from a wrong angle or from a wrong,
right. Like,
and the only ones they really ever caught, I remember like some of the cheating was like against the Jets. And I'm like, first of all, Bill,
like
really?
Why?
Like, why do you need to film the Jets? You could just
goddamn Jets.
Just put Madden on simulate. It's the same thing.
Right.
But yeah, but it's the best of the week. So why don't I do my two I couldn't decide on, and my honorable mention. As much as we pick on the Pro Bowl, and as easy it was to just, I've always been anti all the subs and the like replacements and. Sorry, while I battle this cold through this whole podcast. I've always been anti like, let's get this fill-in guy. Oh, he's hurt too, and then this one, and then this one, and then like they're all somehow Pro Bowlers. And I'm like, are half the league just Pro Bowlers? I don't understand how this works. I don't know if you opt out, you just aren't one. I don't know how to understand how it works. But the one thing
I opted out actually. I didn't.
Yeah. They asked me. I
didn't
busy.
feel like traveling right now.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Flu season.
But in the midst of all of it and all of the Shador, whatever that did other than draw ratings, probably nothing. Old man Joe Flacco was elected to the Pro Bowl for the first time in his career. Now, I know Joe Flacco is not going to go down.
Good for you.
I know he's not going to go down as one of the like all-time great passers by any means.
No.
One of the best deep balls I've ever seen, though. but it just seems real hard to believe with as dominant as the Ravens were for as long as he was there. And like the playoff runs they were on, and some of the seasons he had a lot of yards. I'm like, how was he not at the very least already an alternate?
Playoffs.
I'm not real sure. Now some of those great seasons he was still playing.
Yes.
So I'm sure he may have been almost a Pro Bowl at that point. But I'm going to hang my honorable mention on Joe Flacco, and my best of the weeks is going to go to another surprise. I'm going to give it to the Atlanta Falcons, a team that's in the middle of an all but a brush fire with a QB controversy in the wrong direction. You have two aging guys that are just absolute rubbish. You've just burnt your coaching staff down. You have arguably the best offensive player in the NFL.
This guy sucks.
And nothing to do with him. You injuries all year. The defense looked good at times, terrible at others, and they just cleaned house, minus a couple stars. But they went and they appointed Matt Ryan to the head of football operations, which I think was a great decision.
Yeah.
As a face and from a knowledge standpoint. I think Matt Ryan brings a lot to the table. Anybody with that average, I mean, I just feel like coming to the table as a quarterback, nothing jumps off the charts out of Matt Ryan, but to be able to manage games as long as he did, as well as he did, he obviously knows what he's doing. And then to go out a few days later and hire Kevin Stefanski, I thought those were two really strong hires. And though we may not know where the offense is going, what direction the QB room's going, at least to me, that looks like stability in the front office. And I think you're going to wind up with a real good staff. And if they get some of those young defenders to come around and play well, it might buy him some time in that quarterback market. You can go out and find somebody to fill in until you find your guy. Maybe you can even compete in a division where nobody finished above 500. So, it's one of those situations where it could be a quick turnaround. And, I wish them the best. I have no reason to hate the Atlanta Falcons. Classy owner, classy organization. Just fallen just so far. And maybe this is the start of something up. So at the very least, Falcons, you've got my best of the weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's still insane that the Browns chose to get rid of it. I mean, the fact that he was getting anything out of that roster and that organization is astounding. So, I think the Falcons made one of, if not, at least arguably the best hire. Now, granted, Giants fans will certainly argue that John Harbaugh is the best hire, and he probably is. But Stefanski's up there, especially in a division that's kind of for the taking. Like, that would be my only maybe argument against the Harbaugh. Like, if you're looking at the whole picture,
right?
Because I feel like the Giants are still very far away. But yeah, I mean, the Stefanski.
Right, and that's just it. I feel like the Falcons at times felt close, like where it's like a piece here, a piece there, an injury. Like Drake London was out like half the year.
Yeah,
you're just kind of. It felt like a lot of coaching problems. Like it really felt there's a lot of management, clock management, game management, play calling that just didn't seem to go their way. And if you can secure that and limit those mistakes, why wouldn't you have a shot?
Yeah, absolutely. Devin says here, best of the week rumor. He's hearing there's a 50% chance Dolphins might be drafting a quarterback in the draft. Well, Devin, no offense, bud, but if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm hoping that the other 50% takes hold, because to me, the last thing the Miami Dolphins need to be investing in the first round is a quarterback. Like,
especially in this class,
right?
Beyond the first
good quarterback class,
1 or 2, there's not much there.
And then also, like, get Tua off the books. Hopefully you can get Tyreek Hill off the books. But you have a guy in Quinn Ewers that looked pretty good, albeit against bad teams at the end of the year. But you drafted him a year ago for a reason. So kind of turn the reins over to him. See if you can go out and find a serviceable backup quarterback that, God forbid Ewers gets hurt or just straight up isn't the guy. You can turn the keys over mid-season or something like that. But, yeah, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm not taking a quarterback.
I've been hearing some Malik Willis whispers, towards the Dolphins as a potential cheap, because you're going to have to get a guy on the cheap because you're going to eat some of Tua's money, obviously. Right. So, to be able to unload him and I mean, obviously, they're going to, at the very least, they would just cut him. I think you're just done with the experiment.
Yeah, I don't see anybody.
And if it costs you a fortune, it costs you a fortune. Like, you just
you're going to have to do it unless you can find a way to maybe like,
because you're not in an immediate rebuild there. The Bills are there, the Patriots are there. You're not going anywhere yet. So you have time. If you have to eat some money for a few years and rebuild slowly, then you do that.
Yeah, see if there's any way you can restructure and at least get some of that.
They get anyone on the offense or defensive side of the line, someone that can protect whoever they throw back there, or someone that can get the guy on the other side. I think that's a great start.
Right. For me, honorable mention. I mean, we kind of touched on the Pro Bowl for a minute. Like, I've seen over the past 2 weeks, like a lot of people really kind of taking aim at the Shedeur Sanders being a Pro Bowler, kind of Joe Flacco being a Pro Bowler. Like, here's the deal. I've called out the Pro Bowl All-Star games as a whole for years as being meaningless, kind of silly participation events. My honorable mention is people finally coming around to where I've been for a long time. It doesn't really bother me that Shedeur Sanders is on the Pro Bowl. Like, I'm not watching it anyway. Again, I'm here podcasting while I think it's on literally as we're on the air. And I have a hockey game on my TV here in the studio. So I'm not absorbing that in any way, shape, or form. But in terms of all-star games, they're meaningless. They're meaningless. So what does it matter if Shedeur Sanders is a quote-unquote Pro Bowler? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It never really meant anything. Like, yeah, sure, it used to signify the best players, and the guys got to go to Hawaii, but they don't get to do that now. So, really, I don't care that guys turned down the offer. I don't care that guys are in it. It's just meaningless with time waste. Right. But my actual best of the weeks, and it's not even football related, is the NHL Stadium Series in Tampa this past weekend. That, from beginning to end, from players arriving to the game presentation, all of it, the post game, that is how an NHL outdoor game should be presented to the fans. For years, I feel like the NHL Winter Classic has almost become like an afterthought for the NHL and their TV partners, which is odd because it was such a big deal when it was on NBC when it first came on. But the Stadium Series, man, like, you had pyro, you had pirates, you had everything. It was a show.
Oh man, when Tampa won that bit, they clearly set their minds to let's show the world how fun of a sports town Tampa is, and let's bring in the Buccaneers themes. Let's they were advertising that thing everywhere, and people were excited. And you know what? The cold weather made it more exciting.
Yeah.
Like, people got a taste not only of outdoor hockey, but outdoor hockey below 30. You know what I mean? Like it was actually like close to, it was in the low 30s, wind chills, and it was like people were bundled up by the end of the game. It was, feeling like it was 25 and everybody was having a good time.
Because that's the thing, like, you can play an outdoor game, especially at night, up to like 60 degrees. Because again, you think of an arena. An arena is
not 30 degrees.
Right, exactly. Arena, you don't have to bundle up inside the arena. Like, the equipment freezes the ice. You just have to make sure there's not direct sunlight on it. Because they've played outdoor games at Anaheim. Like,
but man, it worked out. Cloudy, breezy.
It worked out really, really well. The whole thing was done extremely. It was perfect. It was absolutely.
And is there
perfect.
anything more fun than watching clips of like the NFL players at the front of the glass, like screaming at hockey, like they're watching hockey for like I think it might have been McMillan. It was one of the Tampa Bay wide receivers watching hockey for like the
Baker
first time.
There. Like, love it, man. It was fantastic.
He's like screaming at the opposing team. He's having a great time.
So hopefully the NHL can take some of that success. I think the second year in a row now, the Stadium Series is going to outdo the Winter Classic in terms of ratings.
Well, you can almost spin it as a great 2 weeks for outdoor hockey, because you had the college game at State College.
Yeah, holy hell.
And they had 75,000 people in sub 20 degree temperatures, and they got a great game too.
They did.
And like an electric finish, and hopefully NHL, I know you guys listen to the podcast, hopefully you see that people in Pennsylvania will sit outside no matter what the temperature is, that State College is a great place to host a hockey game, and that the Penguins and the Flyers deserve that.
Yeah, I think it was a test run to see, because there's, there can be potential parking issues and things like that. And with the weather in PA over the past couple of weeks, you kind of had the opportunity to see what it would be like. And it worked out really well. And they actually had some issues earlier in the week last week where it was so cold that the ice was cracking. That there was a concern that the game wasn't going to be able to be held because it was too cold for the ice. Which sounds a little silly, but
I saw clips
was
from the Northeast of people ice skating on Wildwood Beach and stuff, and I'm like, God.
Yeah, so it was like it was
awful.
rainwater, and like a little bit of the tide was just right that it was able to freeze. Some of the inlet, like the bay side, little like where people have like their boats on like the bay side houses in like Ocean City, Maryland, that was all
crazy.
frozen.
Yeah. Everything's freezing up there, but
absolutely insane.
But great couple weeks for hockey. Absolutely.
Devin says here, problem with All-Star games, there's nothing at stake. He says, I don't even know if the MLB does, where the winner of the All-Star game gets home field advantage. They do not.
No.
And that's better. I thought that was always the dumbest thing in sports. Why would a group of guys who most of them aren't even going to be playing in the World Series have any sort of stake into who gets home field advantage? You know who should get home field advantage? The team that's better. That's how it should work. If you're going to have home ice, home court, home field in a championship series, because obviously the NFL always does a neutral site. But if you're going to have home field advantage be a possibility in a sport, in a playoff, in a championship series, it should go to the team with the better record. That's how it should be. The Major League Baseball was dumb. All-Star game, you want to have All-Star games? Perfect. Nothing should be at stake in them. It should be like, I don't even necessarily like and I get why they do it, but why like baseball, basketball, and hockey, why it's in the middle of the season. Why are you even risking anybody getting hurt in one of these dumb things? Have it at the end. Have one night where, between the second and third or third and fourth round of these playoffs, when teams are going to get that break before the championship series, have that be the All-Star game. I get some guys are already starting to pack it up, for the year and go into their off-season training program. So are the NFL guys. Find a group of guys that come out and do the hardest shot competition and, fastest skater and all that stuff. But yeah, nothing should ever be at stake in All-Star games.
No, I don't see any reason why. I mean, I remember the Phillies. Well, when the Phillies won the World Series in 2008, that rule hurt us. We wound up being able to win it at home because of it. But Brad Lidge that year only blew one save. It was in the All-Star game.
Right.
And they wound up losing the game. And so in that series, the Phillies were the road team. They started down here in Tampa. So, it was that could have been a thing. Fortunately, the Rays weren't good, and
that
everything
helped.
else was fine.
That helped.